Good afternoon and welcome to another Hendy Consulting videocast on the display industry and the top leaders therein. And today we're going to focus on what I'm going to call the Taiwanese twins, AUO and Innolux. And actually what surprised me is how incredibly similar the two of them are as of their businesses as of now. I'd always seen them as slightly different in essence and in their behavior in the past, but actually this 30,000 foot view actually shows how incredibly similar the two leading companies in Taiwan actually are. So if we go back and look at the data, this is data that Ross Young published at the DSSC conference last year and is through the end of 2021. But you'll see that on this ranking, AUO and Innolux are number 4 and 6. That's probably more likely now 5 and 6 with China Star moving up. But they're basically the top two leaders in Taiwan. And if we actually look at them in profile, essentially they're both LCD leaders. They're both merchant businesses. They serve a wide customer base. And what you can say about them is in each business, it's probably only by degree. When we look at their LCD businesses, you'll see that they both have about 30 million square meters of capacity, and they're both serving broadly similar marketplaces. In OLED, neither firm has made a massive move into flex OLED capacity, and yet both over decades have looked into OLED R&D. I would argue that AUO has slightly more invested given they got into our inkjet print pilot line, Gen 3.25, a number of years ago, and have done some printed OLED work as well. But arguably, both of them have looked into OLED at different times. For micro LED, it's pretty much the same story, where both players are in the business and innovating quite strongly, both of which are interested in the automotive space with micro LED. But then AUO is in a slightly stronger position because it's already the tile supplier of LTPS tiles to Samsung Electronics for the wall. And so I would argue that AUO's position here in terms of supply chain positioning is stronger than that of Innolux. And that sort of strength is also follows through to the fact that both the Taiwanese here have actually shown real interest in downstream integration into business structures that use displays in a range of spaces. And we'll talk about that later. But I would argue that I think by degree, AUO is slightly stronger than Innolux. So the first thing that really surprised me was just how much the data shows that they are real peers in LCD. So they're both interested in TV, in IT products, in LCD, and then they have a devices business and automotive. And for me, when I think of the two of them, actually it's their automotive strength that I sort of remember. Both of them have got the sort of competencies and business teams serving the automotive industry to really have real strength when compared to other peers. And so that's really I wanted to highlight through it. When I think of the two Taiwanese, one of the differentiators perhaps against other businesses, indeed the Koreans and the Chinese, is the strength of their automotive businesses across a range of technologies. But here I'm thinking LCD and micro LED in particular. So that's real strength of the Taiwanese twins. When you talk about OLED, as far as I know, neither company has actually made a flex OLED fab investment. Certainly it's been rumoured at different times, but I don't think either has actually put down capacity yet. AUO did buy a inkjet print tool a number of years ago, so arguably I would say has done slightly more R&D, but actually both of them have dabbled in OLED for a very long time. It's just that they probably don't have the capital market story or the strength of funding in Taiwan to be able to invest into the multi-billion-dollar number that's needed to get into OLED per se. And then the OLED industry for flex OLED is in oversupply anyway, so arguably it's been a semi-sensible decision for them to stay on the sidelines of that. So what they both have done, and interestingly, both sort of making automotive a real leitmotif of what they're doing, is invested into R&D for micro LED for automotive. And then actually what makes AUO different is that they are already the tile supplier for LTPS arrays for Samsung Electronics for their micro LED products. So you could argue that AUO again is slightly stronger in this business. They both have put little bits of money into the Ennostar construction for micro LEDs, and so there's a lot of complicated relationships in Taiwan for micro LED, but it's certainly something that the island's taking very seriously. And then by degree, we can also talk about that both Taiwanese businesses, a bit like BOE, have real interest in integrating into complete solutions across a number of business spaces. So here we've got from AUO, retail, education, enterprise, healthcare, mobility, and manufacturing. And then a sort of semi-similar set of downstream businesses also from Innolux. But by degree, again, my feeling is that AUO started down this path towards some sort of system selling that in systems that include displays earlier than Innolux did. So actually, my summary as of 2023, and what really surprised me is just how incredibly similar these two businesses are at 30,000 feet. If you look at them, both have about 30 million square meters of capacity, both are strong in LCD, both are arguably weak in OLED, and both are investing into micro LED and downstream businesses. And really beyond that, it's only by degree you can say one is different to the other. Both have pretty amazing device characteristics and understanding of TFTs. And both are quite attempting to be entrepreneurial in terms of linking up capabilities in Taiwan. So it was actually very interesting to me that out of the two Koreans, there's a distinct leader-follower relationship in SDC and LGD. Same again in China, where BOE vanilla versus China Star differentiated strategy. But in Taiwan, it's the Taiwanese twins. I hope you found that interesting.